kind of like waves at me and signals me, and I kind of stop and roll down my window because I mean, I'm thinking, really, what harm can, you know, this person do to me when her baby's sitting right there? So she tells me that her and her baby daddy came down to where I live to sightsee. That should have been a red flag right there to me, because who comes to where I live to sightsee? You know, she's kind of like trying to talk to me, and I see, like, I'm looking over at the guy, and the guy's starting to walk closer to the car. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a story time, and it's going to be about the time I was almost kidnapped. Yes, friends, kidnapped. So, my story starts off on a Saturday afternoon, and you guys all know me as this good student that I am. No, I'm just kidding. I really had something due like the next Monday or something, and like my printer wasn't working, so I had to go down to Valley to go print it out. Anyways, so I'm walking out of the library towards the parking lot, and I see this girl and this guy kind of talking. I'm kind of far away, you know, so I don't know if they see me or not, but as I'm like walking more towards the parking lot, the girl and the guy kind of separate from each other, and the guy like goes to his car or whatever, and I guess he drives away. Like, I get to see the guy, but I'm not like paying really any attention to them. Like, it's Saturday, I'm just trying to go home. So I see the girl, she's sitting there, and she has maybe like a 2-3 month old baby, and yeah, I thought it was kind of weird, but she didn't say anything to me when I first walked to my car. So I get in my car and I reverse, and I'm about to go out of the parking lot, and she kind of waves at me, and I rolled down my window to talk to her, and she's like, hey, I'm here with my son. Can you please give me a ride back to my motel? My boyfriend left us here, and I don't know where I am. So I'm like, yeah, you know, we're not in the best city in the world, and she has a little tiny baby. It's the middle of summer. Come on, let's go. So she like hurries up and gets in the car. Like, she doesn't even make sure the baby's buckled in right, because you know, my daughter, I have a car seat in the car, so it was kind of not as roomy in there. And so she kind of just threw the baby in the car and closed the door, and I was like, kind of like, what the heck? But you know, I told her, but she didn't. She was like, no, the baby will be fine, you know, because it's tight. And I was like, okay, whatever. Shouldn't be that far anyways. She gives me instructions to this place, and you know, I know the area pretty well, but it was kind of like 15 minutes away from Valley, which was kind of weird to me. But she was saying if I can just get her there, and her mom will pick her up from the motel, and I was like, cool, got it. So this girl, she starts telling me basically her whole life story. So she tells me that her and her baby daddy came down to where I live to sightsee. That should have been a red flag right there to me, because who comes to where I live to sightsee? There's nothing to see out here. Tells me about how her and him got together, and then she tells me, she first told me that he dropped her off at the school, because, you know, I saw them there, so yeah, I believe that. But then later on, her story kind of switched, and she was like, oh no, he dropped me off on Baseline, and he left me there because he brought me here to pimp me out. So now my head is starting to think, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this girl was gonna be something, you know, or her man was really gonna put her in this lifestyle. So I was like, dang, like, I really felt for her for a minute. But it was weird to me, you know, how her story changed or whatever, but I kind of just, whatever, let it slide. She's already in my car, you know, like, I'm just gonna take her wherever she's going. And then she's just, while we're sitting there, she's kind of going through her bag, and I see that she has 2 phones. And she goes, oh, I do have 2 phones, but this one is, they're both mine, but this one is dead, so I'm gonna use this one. Whatever, I don't care. Like, I'm not even paying attention to your phones. I'm paying attention to the road, because this child in my back seat is not buckled in right. Anyways, so as I am driving down there, you know, it kind of gets deserted where she's at, where she's taking me. So if you know where I'm from, kind of by Orange Hill Road, around there by Cosmoprof and everything. There's really nothing over there. So it's somewhere over there. It took me like down back streets to get her there anyways. And yeah, she's telling me about how he's tried to pimp her out before and now he's trying to do it now, but she's like, no, because I just had your baby, I'm not gonna do this. And I'm really feeling for this girl. But I kind of like look over, because when we're almost there, I look over and she's on the phone with somebody, and she's telling, I can hear, like, she tells me it's her mom, but I can hear on the phone, like the phone is turned up pretty loud, that it's a man's voice. Like, that's not your mom. Like, I'm not deaf, I can hear. And she's like, yeah, me and my friend, we are not friends. I was just trying to be a helpful Honda person. And she says, oh yeah, me and my friend are almost there. And while she's on her phone, this phone that was supposedly dead, and her bag like lights up, and she kind of like grabs her bag, you know, kind of flips it over, and I'm kind of like feeling really uneasy now, like really uneasy, because now I'm driving down like this dirt path. There's nothing on this side of me, and then everything on this side of me is strictly motels, you know. So, you know, it gets kind of weird. And then I've always had this thing, my gut intuition, like, if it's not right, it's not right, and I can feel it. And in that moment, I can feel that it wasn't right. So, I'm sitting there and I'm kind of thinking, like, what can I do? Like, how can I get out of this? Because she's talking to this guy and telling him, you know, like, to wait outside because we're going to be there right now. And I'm kind of just like, dang, like, you hear all these stories online, but it's about to happen to me. It's about to happen to little old me. And, you know, so we get there, and I'm kind of like flipping out. So, like, I'm like, I need to call somebody, like, so someone's on the phone with me, so if anything happens, like, somebody knows. And I knew, like, my husband can't take, at the time he was working at Amazon, so he couldn't take his phone inside. And, you know, I know, you know, some people probably would hang up if I didn't say anything. So luckily enough, like, I felt like God had it all in his hands. My sister-in-law, Karen, from the last video, was watching my daughter that day because my mother-in-law couldn't. So, I'm talking, I called my sister-in-law, and thank God she answers the phone. And I'm like, oh, you know, how's Sophia doing? What's going on? Is she being okay? I'm going to be home soon. And we pull up to the hotel, and I see the guy. So I don't see any guy. I see the guy that supposedly was trying to pimp her out and left her in front of the school. So I'm really starting to freak out, and I won't even hang up the phone. I don't even have anything left to say to Karen. I'm just like, oh, Karen, hold on a moment. Hold on, like, hoping and praying to God that this girl does not hang up. So I'm sitting there, and, you know, she's like, okay, yeah, it's right here, if you can just pull in. And I'm like, oh, man. So, like, I pull in, and I park to the side farthest away, you know? And she's literally just sitting in the car waiting for me to get off the phone so she could talk to me. And I'm like, oh, Karen, hold on a minute. Oh, Karen, I dropped off this girl, and, you know, can you just hold on a second? And she's like, yeah, and I put down my phone, but she can see I'm still talking to somebody. And, you know, she's kind of like trying to talk to me, and I see, like, I'm looking over at the guy, and the guy's starting to walk closer to the car. And as soon as I see that, I pick my phone back up, and I'm like, oh, Karen, hi. Like, I'm just talking to Karen. So this girl, I don't know what she does. I think she gets tired of waiting for me to pay attention to her, which it wasn't going to happen because I saw the guy coming towards the car. I saw him and her looking at each other. Like, it was just not it. So, yeah, she finally started getting out the car, and I saw the guy walk further into the hotel, and she's like, oh, okay. She's like, well, I actually never introduced myself. My name is blah, blah, blah. And she gave me her phone number. She was like, in case you want to be friends and text each other. And, you know, she even took her minute to get her kid out the car to see, you know, if I was going to hang up the phone anytime soon. And it was not happening. So, that was the time I basically almost got kidnapped. If it wasn't for my sister-in-law staying on the phone with me, like, I don't know what would have happened. Because, I mean, I know it was like daylight, but you can tell that they didn't care. We were in a secluded place. Like, there was no cars on the street. There was nothing. So, yeah. Later on that day, I ended up emailing my one of my professors, and I was like, listen, I'm not trying to start an issue. I don't even know who to send this to, but I just wanted to tell you exactly what happened. And I actually did send her a pretty good long email in length of everything. And she sent it to school police. School police reached out to me, and, you know, what can I really say about them? They're no help. But, yeah, they told me to call them, and I ended up calling them. And, you know, they were like, just tell me the story again. So I told them exactly what happened in depth. And they were like, oh, well, you let her in your car? And I'm like, yes, I let her in my car. But that's not even what we're talking about right now. We're talking about the fact that someone could try to do this again. And I'm just trying to warn you guys. I don't want any benefit from me telling you. You know, there's nothing benefiting me here. I was just trying to make sure that this didn't happen to someone else. Because, say, you know, anyone, I think, when you see like a girl and some baby sitting on the side of the street and they look hopeless and they're telling you the sob story, I feel like anyone is really going to do whatever they can to help, you know? But, yeah, that was the end of it for me. I feel like you have to be kind still, but to an extent. Anyways, so thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you again next week.